All right. Well, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants event. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. If this is your first time joining us, you picked a great session. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Here at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants, we are all about bringing science, adventure, exploration, and conservation live into classrooms across North America and around the world. We have a great series of events every month, sometimes up to 60 live events for classrooms to join into. If you head to exploringbytheseat.com, you can find all of the events that are coming up and all the details you need to join some of those live events. Today's event is a pretty special one. We're taking a little virtual field trip to the Seychelles today in Africa. So we are visiting a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Vallée de Mai in the Seychelles. We're going to meet an incredible team down there, and we're going to learn all about different freshwater crabs that live in this amazing protected area in the Seychelles. So the organization, the Seychelles Islands Foundations, does an incredible job protecting Seychelles' natural history, natural heritage, environments, and species. So we're really excited for today's live event. I am going to bring in our team live from the Valle de Mai in the Seychelles. Let's bring them in. We've got Maria, we've got Terrence, we've got Ariel joining us. It is going to be a lot of fun today. How is everyone?
We're fine.
All right. Well, I'm excited. We've got a great connection today. And we're so excited to take this trip to the Seychelles and learn about the freshwater crabs and the really important work that you do to protect them.
Yes, we're ready for it.
All right, excellent. Well, why don't you take a moment and introduce yourselves, and then I'll get the PowerPoint ready and we'll dive right in.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Maria Brioche. And with me today, I have Miss Aurélie Hector, who will be helping us assist the questions. Friends, perhaps like Joe have mentioned, he will tell you about some of the work that we are doing with the freshwater crabs. And then he will do help you to create your own little crabs that you can later on take home to your family and show the rest of your family the little crabs that you have managed to do with us. But it will be out of paper. Okay, next slide, please.
All right, I am going to share my screen here. We're going to bring up those slides, and then, yeah, we'll be off. Okay, so it's just loading. It's just going to take us a second to queue it up. Okay, we are ready.
Okay, so good morning once again. So today we're going to talk about the freshwater crabs, like I mentioned. So we will see some of the crabs that we have here in the Seychelles. And then we will talk more about the freshwater crabs. Next slide, please. Okay, so this one is the coconut crab. The coconut crab, as the name says, they feed on the coconut, and they can be found in the Indian Ocean and part of the Southern Pacific Ocean. And in the Seychelles, they can also be found on some islands and on the Aldabra Atoll, which is the other UNESCO World Heritage Site in the Seychelles. The coconut crab, they are a really big crab. They can weigh 9 pounds, up to 9 pounds, which is about 4 kilograms. And they can measure up to 3 feet, which is around 90 centimeters long. So if we compare it to the 1 meter ruler, so it's that size. So the coconut crab is really amazing because it can climb up the coconut tree. It goes up on top, cut down the coconut, then it will come back down, remove the husk of the coconut, break the shell, and eat the kernel inside. So it can do all that because it has a really large claws or the pincers. Next slide, please. So here you can see the coconut crab when it's on the ground. You can see how really big it is. Next slide, please. We also have the hermit crab. The hermit crab is not actually like a true crab because unlike other crabs, they do not have the exoskeleton, the hard shell in other, like on the body parts. They only have the hard shell with their legs, and they have only 6 legs compared to other crabs, the crabs that have 10 legs. So what does the hermit crab do is that they will take the empty shells that they find around. They will go in the shell and make it their home. They will use this as their home. So as they grow bigger and bigger, so they will just change the shell to a bigger one. Next slide, please. So this crab, this one, the orange land crab, it can be found almost everywhere on the island. It is found in the swamp areas and also on rocky crevices, and they are really active day and night. You will see them hunting other smaller crabs around. Next slide, please. The fiddler crab. This one, you can identify it easily because of the larger pincer, especially the male. One of the pincer is really, really large compared to the other one. And they feed on small organic matter that falls on the ground, in the mud. They will feed on these. Next slide, please. The ghost crab, a very interesting name for this crab, ghost crab. Why do we call it ghost crab? Is because it blends in really nicely on the sandy beaches. And the ghost crab, they are also really fast. So if they see someone coming or anything coming towards them, they will run quickly, really fast, and hide in their hole, or they will hide in the sand. So this is why they are called the ghost crab. And they also feed on the species that are found in the sandy beaches. Next slide, please. The mangrove crabs. The mangrove crab is nocturnal. That means that they come out at night, especially at night. They are really active during the night. They come out to feed and to socialize with other crabs. They find their mate and especially to find their food. So they live on land, and also that you will see them in mangrove swamps. Next slide, please. The red rock crabs. This crab like to live on rocks also. You will sometimes see them in very large group on the rocks during the day and also during the night. And on their legs, there are a lot of hairs, tiny, tiny hairs on their short legs. Next slide, please. The freshwater crab. So the freshwater crab is found in the rivers. You can see them in the rivers and in the streams of the Vallée de Mai. So this one, this crab, we will learn more about it today with my colleague Terence, who will talk about the work that we do in the Vallée de Mai on the fresh crabs.
Hi everyone, my name is Terence. As Rayad says, yeah, the freshwater crabs. It's normally we have some project that we do here in Vallée de Mai, and freshwater crab is is part of one of these projects. Next slide, please. This is not the one.
Okay, let me talk about crabs in general before Terence, because I think there has been a mistake in the PowerPoint that should be showing.
Why don't I do a quick switch for you? I know we have that second version. Let me do a quick switch.
Yes, please.
And we'll put Terrence's part up. Let's see. Ah, there it is. Okay. Let me know if this looks like Terrence's part here. I'm going to take it live. And let's go down there. Does that look better?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, let me go full screen. Perfect.
Back to the one that you just left. Yeah, the freshwater crabs normally, as the name is mentioned, they live in a wide range of water bodies, such as fast-flowing rivers, swamps, tree boles, caves, etc. And they are opportunistic omnivore, but feeding mainly on fishes, crustaceans, earthworms, ants, insects, and sand, and some plant materials. Next slide, please. Yeah, there's few methods that we use to catch these crabs. We use pitfall trapping. Pitfall trapping is a bucket that we use, and we put some small holes inside. Like if you see inside these buckets, there's little holes, and this bucket is inserted into the ground. We dig a hole in the ground and put it at level to the ground, and then we got the crabs. Next slide, please. And the other method that we use is drift fence. Drift fence is used same with the pitfall, the bucket. We put a plastic along, and then we put the bucket, 3 buckets, one in the middle, 2 at the edge. And then when the crab is just walking along the plastic, it's just drag them into the bucket. And also we have the funnel traps. The funnel traps is this one. These traps is just put in the middle just to catch other species as well, such as a skink and maybe a little frog as well. Next slide, please. And electro fishing is not common here, but normally we use once. And electro fishing is just we use a copper attached with a wire and a battery of 12 volts, same as for a car. And when we put the copper into the water, it just paralyze the species in the water, and then they just float on the surface of the water, and then quickly we just pass the net and collect them. It's not a hazard for the fish or the animals live in the water. And then they just, when we put them back into a bucket, to collect data, they just go back to normal. Next slide, please. Yeah, the morphometrics, we take all the measurement of the crabs when we collect. We measure the carapace with a caliper, like this lady here, one of our colleagues using a caliper. And we also use a Pesola scale to weigh them. And we put a little dot on them just for as a reference. Next time, if we catch one, we know that it's a recapture. If we catch a new one, if you don't see this dot, that means that it's not a recapture. We just put the dot just to know the abundance of these species for the better management. Next slide, please. Okay, that's it. Any question?
All right, very cool. We're definitely going to visit our classrooms and get some questions. We've just got that cool little video playing of the crab eating. That's really neat to see the way that they do that. They slowly make their way through looking for food. Very cool. All right, I'm going to come back from that screen share now. Just give me a moment here for my screen to come back for us. There we go. All right. Well, thank you for that awesome presentation. There's so many really cool species in the Seychelles of crabs. I think my favorite is the coconut crabs. They're so big. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And, you showed us out in the field and taking some of those measurements. I'm really curious as to, what is the status of some of the species in the area? Are there some of those freshwater ones? Are some of them endangered? Or is that what you're trying to figure out? Just how many there are in the populations?
So to be honest, we are not very expert on crabs ourselves. However, there are other scientists around that do more study on the crab. So like the study that we do here is really to just see the abundance here in the Vallée de Mai, in the area that we protect.
All right, very cool. Well, I want to give a shout out to the crew on YouTube. We have a lot of students tuning in via YouTube. Use that chat sidebar to send in questions. Oops. And don't, use it for questions now. We don't want to have to block anybody. We want to make sure that we get lots of good questions in and I don't miss any of them. So we're keeping our eyes out for those. We're going to start meeting some of our live groups now and let's get some questions. So I want to go first. Let's see. Miss Michael's class, 4th graders in Glenview, Illinois. Let's bring them in and see if they have a question for us. Hey, Miss Michael, how are you?
Hi. So Emma has a question. Emma, can you try to ask it? Otherwise, I'll ask it for you. See if they can hear you.
How long do crabs live, like the coconut crabs? Like how long do they live?
Oh, very good question, actually. So, yeah. The coconut one.
The coconut crab, like
10 to 15 years?
they probably 10 to 15 years, but we haven't done like any research, in fact, on the coconut crab itself. And we will definitely do a presentation in the near future on Aldabra. And the coconut crab will be one of the topics that we will touch and elaborate more about it. And we'll take note of that question and make sure that and ensure that we answer that question. But I think they live for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll try to be there for that one.
All right. Very cool.
So because you were talking about the coconut crab, so actually we have a cool part of the shell, and to see how big it is, here you go, and look at the claws. This one. This is how big the claw is.
Wow.
So if you try to assemble the whole body, it's really big.
You would definitely not want to be pinched by one of those. That looks it would not feel great. And those big claws, that's for the coconuts, I imagine, to get inside and get at some of the
feed on the coconut. So this is why they are called a coconut crab, and actually they can use their claw to really remove and rip it and like open and then they can feed on it.
All right, very cool. Yeah, definitely don't want to be pinched by a claw that can break a coconut. No, not at all. Awesome stuff. Okay, let's grab another question. We're going to go to Guelph, Ontario this time. Mrs. Gallant's joining us with her 3rd and 4th graders. I'm going to pop her in.
Oh,
hey, how are we doing today?
We're doing great. Thank you for having us. This is really exciting. So we have some questions about predators of the crabs. So what are the natural predators of the coconut crab? Because we were talking about that, and that's just fascinating. But also the freshwater crabs, like what animals eat them? And do humans eat them as well?
Yeah, so crabs in general are quite a good delicacy that people would like to eat. So depending on the species, some can be consumed by people and some are not. And here the natural predator would be heron for the fresh water crabs. And even for the one that goes into the mangrove, when they are small, they are being eaten by other crabs. Even like some species of crabs will feed on them. So yeah, there is quite a dynamic ecosystem that I would say. And there is quite a lot of predator.
All right. We've got a really interesting question that came in from online from Miss Paloya's class. Thomas in her class is wondering, how do the crabs communicate with each other? Do they make little sounds? Do they do gestures? Do they communicate with each other at all, the crabs?
So they do have chemoreceptors, which are kind of like receptors that detect chemicals, but like a lot of it are gestures. And usually for the male, it's like you will see normally some of the species will have one pinch that are bigger than the other, and like really a lot of movement that like showing the other how big they are, or like don't come closer, I'm gonna attack you and stuff like that. So it's a lot of gesture in terms of communication.
All right, very cool. Great question from YouTube. Keep those questions coming from our students there. Let's see, who should we visit now? We're going to go to Miss Reed's group. They're 5th graders joining us in Huntley, Illinois. Let's see if I can track them down. There we go. We'll have to get Mrs. Reed to wave. Mrs. Reed, how are we doing today? I know the microphone isn't cooperating today, so I'll take a quick look and see if we've got a question up in the chat there for us. And looks like we do have a couple there. Oh, here's a good one. What crab is the hardest to catch? So you showed us those different ways, the pitfalls.
The ghost crab is quite fast. And there is one species which is called Sally Lightfoot. So it's like really kind of running around super quickly. It's like as soon as you get close to the shore, it will just run.
Yeah. So they're really fast, the Sally Lightfoot. And the ghost crab, those are the ones, they dig the little burrows on the beach and they can disappear really quickly when you try to.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes you will come, you're like, oh, there's a crab. Then the next time you look, oh, it's gone. So, yeah.
All right, fair enough. Well, they live up to that name of the ghost crab. They're not easy to catch. All right, very cool. I'm going to bring in another classroom with us. They're joining us in Brampton. There's some 3rd graders, and I'm going to do a little double share here because we have their teacher joining us. Hello. And we also have the students here via the screen share. So there's everybody. How's our 3rd graders today? Good stuff. Well, we'd love to grab a question. You guys have a question for us?
Ranjit has one question. Ranjit, go ahead.
Which crab is the most dangerous crab?
Oh, are any of the crabs dangerous?
Well, from the Seychelles, I would say if you are being pinched by one of the coconut crab, then it will be very hard.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Can we take more than one question?
Yeah. Yeah, if they've got another one, go for it.
Yeah, how many, Kavya, you have a question.
How many of crabs have you found, or do you have an estimate?
How many species of crabs?
So there is over 4,000 of species of crab in general. However, here in the Seychelles, like we said, we are not really expert in crabs here. So we don't know how many exactly there are in the Seychelles, but in general, there is plenty of crabs.
Yeah, that's a lot of species around the world of crabs. And there's a couple questions online. People are curious, and we can do a couple of these ones. Do you know if any species of crabs have gone extinct in the Seychelles? And then they're also wondering, are there any venomous species of crabs in the Seychelles?
In the Seychelles, there is no venomous one, and general, like animal in general. But for the extinct, possibly. However, like with the science that we're doing, we're currently knowing what we know, but a lot of time, like people are discovering new and new species each time. So maybe there are some that went extinct without us knowing already. So extinction, definitely, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing to share about the research, is that a lot of your research is just trying to find out how many of each species are there, what areas that they're using, what they're eating. So it's kind of like a baseline, right? Because then you can look into the future and see, are they still doing well? Do we need to make changes to how we're protecting the area? So really important work to get that baseline to understand what's there, so that you can continue protecting it properly.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. I'm going to bring in another group here. Let's see. I believe this group is joining us in Stratford. It's Miss Smith's class, and they've got their student teacher hanging out today. So I'm going to bring them in. How are we doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Great to have you joining us today.
Great to be here. We're very excited. My class wants to know, how can you tell between a male and a female crab?
So yes, actually on the initial slide, we had like one of the diagram, but I would try to explain to you, so bear with me. So if you imagine that my hands are crabs, so for the male, you will have like a slit that goes like that, quite straight, and that would be the male. And if you look at the female, if you look at the belly, so you will have a round shape, like really round. So that would be the female. So how do you know, why is it round? It's because this is where it will have a lot of the eggs in. Okay. So the best way to know between a male and a female, that it is. So you can see that the male has a like very narrow under the belly side, and you will see like in the female, it is quite round. And as the female mature, it will start from triangle to really go round, to really encompasses all the eggs.
Very cool. Thank you for answering.
And just to add on this slide, the crabs, they also live in water as well as on land. So how are they able to live in water is because they have gills, like you can see in the slide. They have gills just like the fish does. And they also have the swimming legs, the two swimming legs that helps them to swim when they are in the water. And they have the walking legs that enables them to walk when they are on land.
Yeah.
They also have two antennas. This is to help them know when there's danger coming, so they just run away and hide into their holes. And also the male crab, their claws is much bigger than for the female.
Cool. Very cool.
All right. Very cool. Great question. Bring that back there. Let's see who we still need to visit. I think we've gone through each of our classroom. Oh, no, Greystone Elementary. I almost forgot. All right. I can see someone sitting nice in front and center for us. How are we doing today?
So my question is, what crabs do you find most interesting to research?
So the one here, like as we said, we kind of capture whatever you get. But I do like the one interesting would be the mangrove one, because it's quite the mangrove.
Good job, Weston. High five, buddy. Good job.
All right. Is somebody front and center? Do you guys want to jump up with another question? There's. So this group is joining us in Birmingham, Alabama. So great to have you with us live today.
You have one minute. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Sure. Our next question is about the pinchers that they have. And here's our student that wants to ask that one.
All right.
Why do crabs have pinchers?
And how do those pinchers help support them and their ecosystem?
So they have pinchers to be able to get their prey. So sometimes they do feed on, how we say, like sometimes they do a decomposer. So they will feed on leaf litter. Sometimes they will have to really eat on like live species. Then they will these are like super hard claws. So once they get it, then they won't let go. And like the coconut crab, it uses a pincher to really remove the coconut husk. So like it can like feed. So it's, and also sometimes it also to show how big they are, how threatening they are. So then like, you're like, oh, this one is big, I'm not gonna touch it. Like defense mechanism, yeah.
All right, very cool. Well, I think we should take a little pause from the questions because I think it would be awesome to take a look at the paper crabs, have a little demonstration. Before I do that though, I do want to share my screen really quickly one more time because some students, they drew some pictures of crabs in advance and sent them to me. So I want to share a couple of those pictures now. So here's one, looks like this is from Haley. Got a little crab. Here's another one here. Let me make it a little bigger. There we go. And I've got one more here. It looks like a nice undersea world here with another crab. So
cool. Thank you very much.
A few pictures from some of the students. I wanted to share those. And it looks like, I think right behind you, hiding on that waterfall, I think you have an example of one of those really cool paper crabs.
Yes, we do. So this is what you're gonna attempt to do today. So hopefully, more or less, your crab will look like a crab.
Yeah, so I want to say no pressure to the classrooms to do it right away. We sent instructions for 2 different kinds of crabs. So if you want to try some now, if you want to try it afterwards with a little more time, but what we want to see is pictures, right? We want to send some pictures to Maria and the team because I know they would love to see some pictures of your completed paper crabs. But we'd love to see a little, oh, here we go. I'm going to share something quickly here. There's another crab picture. This one's live. All right. Very cool. Well, let's, yeah, we'd love to see a little demonstration. There we go. Oh, those are so cool.
With the legs. So crabs are decapod, meaning that they have 10 legs. And the 2 first one is the claws. And then you have the remaining one, which is 4. 4 back, and then like the 2 claws in the beak.
Yeah. And normally, or what you've done in the past is you use palm leaves to do them, right? Make them out of the palm leaves?
Yeah.
Oh, there's one. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, that looks awesome. But then for our students, obviously, it's a lot easier, especially here in Canada, where we just don't have any of those palms to make it out of those paper strips, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool.
Have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So how did you come up with the idea for the paper crabs? They're so cool.
I just, Ms. Maria asked me to do this talk about the crabs and also to show the student how to make crabs. But normally I do with coconut leaves. And
yeah.
Then we found out, okay, we can try it with paper strips. And it's worked.
And we have also in the past gone in the schools in Seychelles, teaching the kids how to do the crabs, not only crabs, but other creatures that are found in the Seychelles out of the coconut leaves.
Yeah. Like grasshoppers and also fish.
Terence is our craftsman here. He's really great. You can just tell him like, oh, I want to do like this. Just do it.
Very cool. Well, I have a couple teachers who are sending a message in the chat. They want to know where to get a link to do the crab. So I'm going to send, I put my email in the chat. If you message us, I've got 2 copies of the instructions, 2 different versions. So if you send me a message, I'll make sure you get the PDF if you didn't get it. So you should see my email there in the chat. So you can email me and I'll make sure you get those crab instructions. So team, what would you like to do now? Do we have the supplies to try and make one quickly? Yeah. All right. Very cool. We would love to see a demonstration.
We pass you over to Terence.
All right, Terence, no pressure. There's hundreds of students are excited to watch a crab come together, so no pressure.
Okay, that's fine. That's good. Normally, to do these crabs, we use an A4 papers like this, and you get 4 pieces like this. It's about 2.5 centimeters from this side, like that, 2.5 centimeters. And you have to glue it together to make it longer. You just put glue, any paper glue you can use. You just put it like that, and you get something like this. All right? We use 2 of these. To make it easier for you, if I remember, I put an A1 and A2, B1 and B2 to make it easier for you to follow. Okay. A1 and A2 on the same paper strip. Okay, B1 and B2, same as well on the other one. Okay, it becomes something like this. B1 and B2. Okay, that's what you do. You just fold your paper like this to get something like that. Okay. You just insert your paper inside the hole like this. Okay. And it's follow the other one. You have to mark on both sides just to make it easier for you. For me, it's okay, it's fine. And then you just go underneath this one, okay? And you go around the top, like that. And then you go back towards you, like this one, okay? And then you take A1 and you put it through this little hole like this. And then you just pull all the remaining parts just to make it tight. And these two supposed to follow each other. A1 with B1 and A2 with B2, like this, okay? And what we are going to do now, we have to put a hole on this side by using a craft knife, a cutter. You just get through this paper and make it the same size with the paper. Okay. Then you put A1 through or B1. You put it through these holes and you get something like this, right? And you do the same for the other one, okay? You're just turning it over and like this and make the hole same as you do as the first one. And you put it through this hole like that. Okay, let's take the scissors to make it a bit larger. You just need to have a little bit patient because it's something very and you get something like that, right? What you're going to do now, you just put the 4 strip towards you, and then you fold your paper towards the screen. It becomes something like that to make the close. Okay. If you look on this side, it's just like a triangle shape, and then you can put glue. Okay, just to glue them. On both sides. And to make the form of the claws, you just do the same, and then you fold it on the other way, like that, towards the carapace. It becomes something like that. Okay? And then you glue them same as the other one. And you do the same for the other claws. Okay, and then you glue. It becomes something like this, right? To make the claws itself, you just draw a mark to show the claw form, like this, and on the other one as well. Okay, take scissors and you just cut it to form the claws for both. You get something like this, right? And then you just put a zigzag line like this one, and you do the same for the other claws. Okay? To make the leg, you just measure 7 centimeters from the carapace to the edge, and then you just take 7 centimeters, which is there, and then you can cut it. Do the same for the other one. 7 centimeters. It's there. And then just get it. What we are going to do now, you have to separate this strip into 4. Have to divide it into 4 to get the 4 legs. You can just divide it by using a ruler, or you can just draw 4 lines on the strips. You can get something like that, right? And then you can cut it by using a scissors. And then you get something like that. And then what you do, you just fold it on the top. And then you just fold it on the other way around, like to form the leg, right? Something like that. Do the same for the other side. Put 4 lines. Like that, and then you cut it. Okay, and you fold it the same way as you do with the other one. Both sides. It's becoming something like this, right? You already got a crab, and now we're going to put the eyes. You just need a strip of paper like this size, a thin one. You can cut 2. It depends how long you want it to be, and you can put a little dot like that to make the eye. You can just use a marker and you paint this out of the edge, and you get 2 things like that. Okay, and then you just need to put it through this hole here. Okay, one on this side, and one and the other one inside this one, right? And then you just glue it from inside.
All right, very cool, Terrence. I just want to take a moment while you're putting the glue on to say, very impressive skills, making those folds and putting everything together on your side. To the teachers who are joining us, I sent 2 instructions, one set of instructions to the version that Terrence is putting together right now. So hopefully with the video and the visual instructions, that will help with your classrooms. And there's a second version as well that involves a little less folding, which might make it a bit easier for some classrooms. So there's 2 versions that you can choose from. Look at that. Very cool, Terrence.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well done, my friend. That's a cool looking crab. So to the classrooms who are tuning in, anybody who was tuning in via YouTube who didn't get a copy of the instructions, I sent my email in the chat. You can still see it there. And I can send your group both sets of instructions to those who are tuning in, either live on screen with us or via YouTube. You should have the instructions already. And whichever version works better for your class, for your group, we'd love to see what crabs come out of your creations. And of course, if you come up with another cool origami idea to make a crab, I think that our team at the Vallée de Mai would love to see that as well. So we're excited to see pictures of freshwater crabs. We're excited to see origami and folded crabs. And if anybody can make a life-size coconut crab, we want to see that too. That would be pretty cool. Yeah. So there's a little challenge for our groups who are tuning in with us. If you can do a 3-foot, we want to see that if you can make that out of paper. So no pressure. I do want to take a minute while we have everybody gathered to talk about a session we're going to do in the Seychelles next week. So I'm going to post it in a newsletter, and we'll post it on the website as well. But on May the 7th, we're going to take a special trip to Vallée de Mai. We're going to do a night safari. So we are going to go out at night, and we're going to hopefully see, maybe we'll see some crabs, maybe we'll see some lizards, snakes, maybe some frogs. What do you think? What might we see, Maria?
Okay, so you'll be able to see the chameleon, the Seychelles chameleon. We actually have 2 different species of chameleon in the Vallée de Mai. We hope to see both of them. We see the snakes. We see the giant bronze geckos, the really big geckos, some crickets, and that's it. And the frogs also.
All right, very cool. Well, keep an eye out for that next newsletter coming out. We're going to announce that trip very soon. I want to take a minute and give a shout out to our group on YouTube. Very active, lots of questions coming in. Thank you for those great questions. I want to give a shout out to our crew who joined us. Let's just bring a couple of them up here because I can see they're still sharing crab pictures here. So a few of the students have little crab pictures that they're sharing. Very cool. All right. So a huge shout out to all of the teachers who joined us today with their classrooms. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope that we get to see some pictures, some folded crabs. We're really looking forward to seeing and sharing some of those pictures. I know our group in the Seychelles, I know you'd love to feature those on your Facebook page and share some of the great classrooms we had joining us. So thank you so much, everybody. Tons of fun to connect today. Maria, Terrence, Ariel, thank you so much for just a great session. We learned a lot about freshwater crabs. I think some students might be, a little nervous about those giant coconut crabs and their pinchers, but I don't think we have to worry too much here in North America. So thank you so much for joining us today. It was a lot of fun, and we cannot wait for the night safari next week. That's going to be great. All right.
Okay.
Well, thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Terrence, rest those hands, Terrence. That was some great instruction for us. See you, everybody.